Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. Today is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. I want to give a shout out to everyone, tell you guys, Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for your support. I got some wonderful gifts in my P.O. box from many of you, Christmas cards, some generous donations to my PayPal account, and cups of coffee. Thank you very much. Definitely going to need it today. It's going to be a very busy day. The top general there in Russia was assassinated late last night. I was up late watching that. The general that was killed was in charge of their nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare and weapons. This morning, I'm going to talk about this deadly earthquake that happened in Vanuatu. A magnitude 7.3 struck Vanuatu, leading to major damages across the capital, Port-Vila. Fears of the death toll could rise from Vanuatu's magnitude 7.3 earthquake. I'm not going to even guess how many people have died. The hospitals that are not set up for mass casualties are just overwhelmed. There is grave fears that the numbers of people killed and injured are going to significantly rise. Originally, the U.S. tsunami warning had issued an alert, but that has now been canceled. The earthquake happened just before 1 p.m. local time at a depth of 57 kilometers or 35 miles and was centered 30 kilometers west of Port-Vila. So that would be about 19 miles. It is the largest city in Vanuatu. It's a group of about 80 islands that is home to about 330,000 people. There has been at least 12 earthquakes so far. Looks like the largest aftershock is probably a magnitude 5.5. Here's the location of the 7.3. Power is out, as is cell phone services, so getting information is rather tough, but there has been some videos that did get out. 34 people did send in reports to USGS Did You Feel It website. And here's the felt reports that were sent in. We got intensity level 9. Intensity level 9, 3 reports from there. 6 reports from there. I wonder if they got satellite phones, the reports that got out. And then we also have intensity level 8 here. I have mapped out the reports that they have listed so far. This area has had large earthquakes in the past. You can see down over here in 1927, there was a magnitude 7.1. Let's see, and we got a 6.3. Now that one was in January of this year. Yeah, it almost looks like maybe a fault that runs from the island out here to where I got these other boxes drawn out. Now this is part of a landmass that is slowly sinking. It's part of the Australian plate that is moving towards the northeast. So I want to show you something. I mean, it's rather confusing, but here's the island of Vanuatu. So this earthquake was actually on the island of Port-Vila. So let me bring this out. It is a whole chain of different islands. Yeah. It is not immediately clear how much damage was caused, as like I said, the phone lines and government websites remain down. In the first official information published on social media, we often get more information from social media than news websites. But the Geohazards Department said that its monitoring system remains offline due to power outages. Many of you that follow me know that any earthquake has a 10% chance of being a foreshock for something even larger. So in that case, residents have been urged to stay away from coastlines for at least 24 hours. The reason being that is until the tsunami and earthquake monitoring systems were operational once again. Dan McGarry, a journalist based in Port-Vila, told the Associated Press he heard of one death from a police officer outside of the Vial Central Hospital. McGarry said he saw 3 people on gurneys in obvious distress. The hospitals are overwhelmed. I got a video showing the people there. He's a local journalist, and he said that the earthquake was a high-frequency shake that lasted for about 30 seconds. It was a violent earthquake, more violent than any that I've seen in the last 21 years that I've been living here in Vanuatu, he said. McGarry also said a mass casualty triage center was being established outside of Port-Vila Central Hospital emergency ward. There are buildings collapsed in the center of town, so I'm quite certain that the casualty figure is going to rise, he went on. He said there was extensive landslides on the road joining Port-Vila Wharf to the city, and there were early reports that the runway at the city's airport had been damaged. There's faults that opened up all over the place. Since his initial report, images of widespread damage have since emerged from Vanuatu after large buildings collapsed in Port-Vila. Electricity and water were cut off in most of the capital. He also said that doctors were working as fast as they could at a triage center outside the emergency ward. He added and said that the nation is not equipped for a mass casualty event, McGarry said. Video shared by the Vanuatu Broadcasting and Television Corporation showed crowds outside the hospital. Phone numbers to the police, the hospital, and other public agencies did not connect. There were several videos posted on social media appearing to show crumpled buildings in Port-Vila, including one that had collapsed onto its lower floors, and cars parked on the street below. Amanda Lathwaite said her husband was among a group of rescuers attempting to shift the roof of a 3-story building because they believed that there was people trapped inside, but their progress was slow without specialized machinery, working with their bare hands. A building housing a number of diplomatic missions in Port-Vila, including those of the United States, Britain, France, and New Zealand, was significantly damaged, several of the tenants said, but there was no reports of embassy staff unaccounted for. Well, it's still early. Sending prayers to all those people that are involved and hurt and trapped and missing. The U.S. Embassy in Port Moresby issued a statement on X saying the embassy in Port-Vila had sustained considerable damage and was closed until further notice. Yeah, they're not going to be reopening it, I'm sorry. The whole lower floor looks like it collapsed. Yeah, I wonder how many people were still inside, being at, 1 o'clock. I wonder how many people were inside working when that happened. Our thoughts are with everyone affected by this earthquake, and the U.S. government will work closely with our partners in Vanuatu, it said. Port-Vila's airport could not be contacted today. Flight tracking sites suggest that the flights were grounded. Some airlines in Australia and the Pacific said that they had canceled or paused flights scheduled for tomorrow, and they were awaiting news of the airport status. Here I have an image on X showing the inside. It looks like of a restaurant, everything just thrown onto the floor. Yeah, you can see here on the counter how things flew off, and we got different things that, came crashing down. Here we have another image. I believe this is the embassy between the two buildings. You can see how the whole side of the building between them. Yeah, it almost looks like an air conditioner there. Here we have another image. Looks like we got a stairwell here. You can see how when this building here collapsed, how the window frames bowed. And I'll bring it up a little bit for you. Here we have another image of the triage center that was set up outside of the hospital. And an image of the fault line that opened up in the road. Yeah, I wonder if this is what the airport probably looks like. Many of you are probably wondering if it shook up Yellowstone. Well, it didn't shake up Yellowstone, but it did shake up Mount Rainier. And this is the signature down here at the bottom of the earthquake that came in, and the one above it is Yellowstone. And there was 4 reports that were sent into EMSC. I had to translate 2 of them at least. This one here is from New Caledonia, and that is 518 kilometers southwest, or 321 miles. And it said that the house that moves, windows that tap, furniture that oscillated, and there was noise. The next one said tremor in the floor and partitions. So they felt it too, and that was 529 kilometers. So that would be about 327 miles. Yeah, it's a long ways away. That's the one that said tremor would be felt in the floor and the partitions shook. And then the bottom one says 12:49 local time, New Caledonia. Sending prayers to everybody there. Yeah, this is devastating. What are your thoughts and comments? Yeah, a lot of earthquakes happening in very diverse places. Hope everyone is prepared. Thank you again for your support. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.